Welcome to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk about all things Star Wars. This is James.
I'm Colin.
And so today we thought we would address some stuff that's been popping up all over the internet.
Yeah.
And it took the internet by storm. My buddy Rudy showed it to me yesterday. When did you first hear about this?
Well, I saw it online today, and I humored myself, and I was like, all right, I'll read the article, and I read it. And the first thing that popped in my head was the X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
Because if they did what they were talking about, which you're going to have to explain to the audience what we're talking about, is that it would be exactly like what they did in X-Men, where they went back in time and kind of erased 3 films that never existed in the X-Men universe.
And that's pretty much what this is about. There's this guy on the internet named I lost his name, but apparently he's broken some things out. You know, like he said, hey, this is gonna happen, and it did happen. So he's been right a few times with these rumors. Yeah. So that's what a lot of people started to go, oh my gosh, this is real. This is real. So in case you don't know, it says Lucasfilm and Disney we're going to completely erase Force Awakens, Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, completely nullify it. And this was the quote that this guy had said. He said, in Season 4, Episode 3 of Star Wars Rebels, an installment titled A World Between Worlds, the concept of the Veil of the Force was introduced, a mystical dimension of the Force that connects all time and space. Okay, so then he says, I have received confirmation from 2 additional sources claiming that this is spot on, that indeed Lucasfilm realizes they have a massive problem on their hands, that the Star Wars franchise is all but dead, and despite Kathleen Kennedy's hatred of this idea, Lucasfilm is preparing to render the sequel trilogy null and void. A massive reset is going to hit the Star Wars universe. So immediately, you know, there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way this is possible. But a lot of people...
I mean, the reason why we know that wouldn't happen is because of, and the reason why I'm comparing this to the X-Men franchise is because of when they rebooted it, they made a different timeline with the same people but different actors and stuff, which is fine, but then at the same time, like, it just gets confusing. Now, if they did this, it would be really confusing because they just spent the past 5 years of building up all these characters and these stories, and then they're just going to reboot it because some fans didn't like it. Like, that would be, you know, it would be pretty dumb, because that's like saying like Rey and all these characters aren't important, or they would bring them back in a different way. I just don't see how it would work. But
it wouldn't work.
No. And I think that they did not introduce that episode of where you can time travel and stuff for no reason. I think they did put it in the Star Wars universe for a reason. We just don't know why yet. I think that will be explored in the future, but I don't think it will be explored like this, to kind of erase everything that happened from Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker. Because for a while, I thought that was going to happen in The Rise of Skywalker. I thought the Emperor was going to use that to kind of time travel to where we are in Episode 9, but it didn't, and it had been a clone. But I still think that whole other dimension is going to be used somehow through a book, comic book, something. I just don't think it's going to be used in the way that this guy is saying.
In the way that they're going to just completely disregard the movies. And,
right.
You know, and this has already been proven false, because why would Disney spend billions of dollars? And they made billions of dollars. Like, there's no mistaking that the sequel trilogy was successful. It was a huge success for Star Wars. A huge
from the
success.
First movie. Yeah, I was going to say, because of from Force Awakens, they earned all their money back and more of what they actually bought the franchise for. So
Force Awakens paid off how much they spent on the movies, and then plus Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. Something that nobody really talks about because nobody really cares anymore. But the DVD Blu-ray sales of all three movies was huge. I
Yeah.
mean, these movies were bought in bulk, and it's pretty great to see. Like there was a lot of people who wanted to buy these movies, and they did. And so the fact that this guy is saying, "Hey, all of that doesn't matter. Lucasfilm doesn't like it, and Disney's mad at Lucasfilm, so they're going to completely redo it." And then, did you see the other rumor that apparently Favreau did
And
not?
Kathleen Kennedy are like in a civil war.
Yeah, they're mad at each other. Okay, so all of this stuff, all of this people posting all this stuff on the internet is just for clicks. It's
Right.
just to get people to look at their channels, all right? And that's what makes me mad is that there's all these people out there who are like, "Oh, Star Wars fans are mad. Here, let me just try to get something going." And then a lot of people start to believe this. A lot of people start to accept that this is what's going on, but in fact, it's not. It's not. Everyone, if you ever look at any of the interviews, if you ever look at anything, everyone is pretty happy with what's going on with Star Wars right now. I don't see Favreau like and Kennedy having a civil war. I don't see Favreau bad mouthing all
No.
these movies. Like it's just making me mad that people are believing all these crazy, stupid rumors. And I mean, I don't know. I think it all started with The Last Jedi, though. I think when The Last Jedi came out, I think that's when a lot of people started to post all these false videos and everything about how mad people were.
Yeah, I mean, because this kind of goes back to the when the Rise of Skywalker came out, because I remember everyone watched it, they loved it, and then the second time they went and saw our friend to the podcast, Chris. He put so much logic into it, and if you put too much, I mean, for me, like it's great if you put some logic into it, but if you put logic into a film like Star Wars, then why are you watching it?
Yeah, you're in trouble if you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a fantasy. It's a science fiction
exactly.
fantasy, and I love because even Kirshner, and we've talked about this before. Kirshner, when he was doing Empire, he said the same thing. Was it's a fantasy. He goes, I don't have to explain why these ships fly. I don't have to get into detail about why this happens and this doesn't happen.
Right.
The real world, because it's fantasy. It's make believe. It's fun. All right. I mean, but mind you, there are some things in the Rise of Skywalker that you could go, well, what are you talking about? But we won't get into that. You heard, if y'all heard my episode Monday, you heard my my little what I would have done a little bit differently. But so a lot of fans are saying The Last Jedi is what is making them change all of this. And some people consider The Last Jedi the worst movie in the entire saga. And people, and like myself, my losing listeners right now, I consider The Last Jedi maybe one of the best movies of the new saga. So it's just one of these things where everyone has their own opinion, but just because you don't like something, or just because you love something, doesn't mean you just throw it at people. And it seems like hate is getting more clicks on Facebook, on YouTube than
Well, I mean, because of I remember when The Last Jedi came out, right away there was a petition to remake the film.
There was already so much hate for that movie the night it came out.
I mean, and in my opinion, I think the reason why it was different was because it didn't have that original Star Wars feel that we feel. I mean, that because of when you get like, even for fans that aren't Star Wars fans, and they sit down and watch A New Hope for the first time, you get that feeling, you're like, this is Star Wars. But then when you go to Last Jedi, it's completely different. I feel like you don't get the same vibe. It's not a bad film, it's just different than what we're used to. Now when you go and watch The Rise of Skywalker, you're like, this is a Star Wars movie, because you get that Star Wars vibe. And I love Rian Johnson as a director. For instance, Looper, Knives Out, great films. You just can't have that mindset when you're doing Star Wars, because then because not only are you doing your own thing, but you're also carrying on a legacy. And
Yeah.
when you are doing that, you have to make sure that you're kind of following the guidelines. With franchises, there are guidelines to things that have already happened. So if you're adding something new to it and you're changing characters altogether, people aren't going to like that. And that's what happened. I mean, especially with Luke, because if you jump from Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker, you don't even have to watch The Last Jedi. I mean, and well, kind of. And that scene in The Rise of Skywalker where Luke uses the it's just so funny because he comes back as a Force ghost, and it just kind of makes fun of what happened in The Last Jedi, because if he catches the lightsaber and he's like you have to treat a Jedi's weapon with respect, and
Yeah.
you know,
but I will say this though, there is a counter argument to that though, Colin.
Yeah.
Is that at the end of the Last Jedi, he does have the lightsaber.
Right.
So okay, I don't want to have an argument with you. Okay,
no.
But here's the thing. So the reason why a lot of people are like, that's not Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker never would have thrown the lightsaber at the beginning of The Last Jedi. And it's like, that's the point. He's not Luke Skywalker at the beginning of The Last Jedi. He becomes Luke Skywalker at the end of the movie. And then at the end of the movie, when he's standing there with Ben, and he says that amazing line, "I will not be the last Jedi. And, you know, if you strike me down in anger, you know, I'll always be with you." Like your father. That's Luke Skywalker. That's 100% Luke Skywalker. Yeah. And he becomes the man who who the legend. And so in The Rise of Skywalker, when he throws the lightsaber, he catches it. He's like, dude, I already went through this. You know better. You saw saw who I was. You are better than this person. And so, yeah, I could see people being like, man, that's a jab at Rian Johnson. But for me, I see it as like, that's the character growing from who he was at the beginning of Last Jedi. But I will say this, though, about the slap in the face for Rian Johnson was the lifting the X-Wing out of the out of the water. I was like, really?
Well, I mean, for me, that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the film, because it really brings it full circle.
Oh, yeah.
Because you jump to The Empire Strikes Back, where Luke's just like, it's impossible. And then you go there, and then he's like doing it, no problem. And he's smiling. He's like, I'm a Jedi. Yeah.
Yep, I'm Luke Skywalker, man.
Right. So I mean, I didn't like Luke to where he was in the beginning, but I do agree with you. Like I felt like the journey to where we see him at the end of the Skywalker saga, it was necessary. Yeah. It was necessary. A lot of people didn't like it because it didn't feel like the Luke Skywalker that we knew back when the franchise ended in 1983. So it was interesting to see him back for the first time. Like the first thing that he does in The Last Jedi is he like throws it. And a lot of people didn't like it because it was just like he's just throwing everything that happened like in episode 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
And I just remember the audience being like, "What?"
Yeah, I remember going like,
"He just did that?"
But then in the back of my mind, I was like, "All right, this movie better redeem this moment." And then I went back to the teaser trailer. At the very end of the teaser trailer, what does Luke say? The line that all of us kept quoting for months.
This is not going to go the way you think.
That one, and it's time for the
Jedi to end.
Yeah. So when he threw the lightsaber, my mind went to that. I was like, oh, so this movie's not at all what I thought it was going to be about. And then you start to go, and I don't know. For me, like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Understandable. Some people don't like The Last Jedi. Me, I consider it one of the best of the Star Wars movies. Yeah. All because of the fact that Luke Skywalker's character goes from one person to the legend at the very end of the movie.
Right.
And it's like, dude, and then he did what Yoda told him, which was, I'll pass on what you've learned. And that beautiful cut when he says, and I will not be the last Jedi, and it cuts to Rey opening her eyes. I was like, dude, this is Star Wars for me. But that's my opinion. But it still made a lot of money. 1, got Oscar nominations. 2, sold a ton of Blu-rays and 4K discs. Mm-hmm. Disney's not going to be like, we could do better. No, they're going to be like, dude, we already made all our money.
Right.
It's ridiculous. The fact that people were believing this rumor blows me away. Blows me away completely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Disney is in a good spot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like right now, they've got. I mean, I remember seriously, 2019. It, I I felt like it was a really great year because we had so much Star Wars going on, and
Yes.
that really was the year for Disney. I mean, like Disney
Disney was on
crushed it
fire.
that
Yeah.
year. They had
Still
so
do.
much going on, and it's so funny of just everything that happened in 2019, great year. Then you go to 2020, and it's just a so it's. I mean, I think that the hype is kind of down right now. It's
Yeah.
down. It's not as I mean because of if you go back to when the first trailer for The Force Awakens came out, like
Yeah.
everyone was hyped up, everyone was psyched.
Yes.
And I just remember like every single year a new Star Wars movie came out, everyone's super hyped, but now it's down. No movies till 2022. We have The Mandalorian. That's great,
And that's doing
but
great. Yeah.
it's doing fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But I think that as of right now, I think it's kind of that pause
Yes.
before the next big thing happens. I mean, it's great that we got The Mandalorian, but there's something about a Star Wars movie that really brings people in more than a TV show, in my opinion.
I agree.
Um,
I agree
and
100%.
and I think when that new movie comes out, by the way, it's got a fantastic like person that's working on it. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so it's going to be awesome to feel that hype again that we did at Star Wars Celebration 2019, like of how we went in there and that feeling where like I just met James and we watched the trailer and then he turned around and hugged me and it was so funny because I just met him a day ago and we were
Yeah.
just like, this is great, yeah.
We
So
were
like
best friends instantly right there at that
yeah,
moment.
and I mean, and it is that hype that will bring everyone back again. Like I
I,
said, it's a break right now, and I think people are just trying to look for attention,
yeah.
like right now, and I don't think that's happening. It's kind of interest. I mean, I think one of my favorite things about like Star Wars that we don't um, is that we fully don't understand what's happening behind the scenes, and I wish that we did because I remember everyone's theory about Snoke being
Yeah.
Plagueis, and before we really knew anything about the Mandalorian, like, oh, there is going to be a Yoda species, but it's just going to be a cameo, and it turns out to be like the biggest thing in the world, and
Yeah, it was literally in the world, literally the
yeah,
biggest thing in the whole world. Yeah.
right. So it's just going to be um, it's going to be interesting to see what happens uh, in the future. And I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think that stuff is happening right now. I think it's people just trying to have some clickbait. Like
And
yeah.
no, I agree. And one thing a lot of people, I mean, love her or hate her, Kathleen Kennedy's is, and David would always say she's the Michael Jordan of producers. It's like she
Yeah.
kind of is. She's kind of one of the greatest producers in Hollywood. And the fact that Lucas chose her was the best. That was the best. Like when I heard Kathleen Kennedy's taking over Lucasfilm, I was like, that's the best choice. Like literally nobody else could have taken that
Right.
role. And so she did the craziest thing ever, which was she finished the trilogy. Like she did 7, 8, and 9, released a couple of movies in between, and made Disney billions of dollars. And then now they're making even more money with Mandalorian. And so for
Right.
me, this break, as weird as it sounds, they are working, but it is kind of a much needed break right now to kind of lay low, figure out, okay, this is our next step.
Right.
And even Bob Iger had said after, even Bob Iger had said after the Rise of Skywalker premiere, he said this Star Wars is really just beginning for what we are about to do. And so it feels like this break is so necessary for Star Wars right now because once 2022 happens, even this year, when season 2 hits a Mandalorian, we're
Right.
all just going to go, whoa, man, Star Wars is going places we never thought it was going to go. And I have a feeling, man, when 2022 hits, it's going to be insane. It's going to be beyond anything.
And something great about this new movie coming out is that it's not going to be something that we know. It's not going to be anything with the Skywalker saga. It's going to be completely different, new characters. So when you go in the theater, you're not going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see Anakin Skywalker or like R2D2 or anything. It's going to be that new feeling for a bunch of new fans that weren't there for the original film back in 1977 when it came out in theaters. It's going to be that feeling of being like, this is all new. We have no idea what's going on. And at the same time, it's still Star Wars.
Can you imagine if we have the same reaction they did back in 77 when the blockade runner flew over and then the Star Destroyer flew over? Because I love hearing those stories. And I've met people who were there to see that. And they said when that ship flew over the camera, they said everybody was screaming in the theaters. And I'm like, man, if they can do that in 2022, they got a winner. They got the great, you know what I mean? And Taika is one of the greatest directors working in Hollywood right now. He could do that. And it's like, man, what is the story going to be? I have no idea. As a Star Wars fan, the first time in my life, I have no idea what's going to happen next. And that's so exciting, you know?
No, yeah. I can't wait to see where the franchise goes. I mean, especially with all this new stuff coming out. I mean, it would be great if the new series was the High Republic. I think it would be great. But if they're covering that in books and stuff, I just want to go in there and I want to go in blind. Like I want to be like, this is all new. I don't know anything because it's hard these days to go watch a movie. Because most movies coming out are sequels or they are something that's based off a book or something like that. So going into a new movie that we don't know about, like, and just completely blows us away, that is what I want. But at the same time, I want that feel that we get from the Star Wars films that we know and love.
Yes, I agree 100%. And can you imagine 2022 when we're at Celebration in Anaheim, they're going to show us that trailer. Like, they're going to show us that teaser trailer.
I will be at that panel. I will, like, do exactly the same thing that we did last time. Like, I mean, being in that panel room was, I mean, I was there at the Last Jedi one, and that was great. But just being there at The Rise of Skywalker, it was incredible. It was fun. Being in that room with that many people sharing the same passion as you and the hype, like, James, I just met you like a day ago. And then like after that, we were just like, oh my God, dude, like, this is great. I mean, like that flip that Rey does in the trailer. I just remember everyone just going really like, and then done.
Yeah, the air was sucked out of the room when that part happened. Yeah. And then, but we all knew there was like, one more thing like Apple has, and then one more thing. So at the end of the trailer, we're all going like, what's the one thing that's going to get everybody? And then you hear that Palpatine laugh and it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And the other thing great about that panel is that afterwards, the Emperor himself came on stage and was like, roll it again. And then we're all just like, yeah.
Just to confirm, he was like, that was me. You guys, this is going to be crazy.
Right. And oh man. So I just remember from that time to when the movie came out, like all the theories coming out saying like that, like Matt Smith was going to be in the film, was going to play like a younger version of him. It's so funny to hear all these theories, and then you got like everything going in your head, like Matt Smith is going to be the younger version of Palpatine, and there might be time travel, and then you go see it, and it's completely different than what you think it is.
Anything you thought it was going to be, yeah.
Right, and now we got that 2-year gap till the new movie comes out, but we don't know anything about it. It's not connected to anything as far as we know. So it's going to be really interesting to see what theories come out and like what theories are correct and because I guarantee there will be that one guy that gets it right. We have no idea who that guy is, but he'll get it right, and we'll go see it, and we'll be like, "Oh man,
that guy did have it right."
Oh darn!
Did you ever hear when Joseph saw The Rise of Skywalker? He said that first showing when he watched it, whenever Kylo Ren says you're his granddaughter, he said that he heard people go, and he heard one dude like a couple of rows back go, "Knew it." So one guy was like, "I knew it." But yeah, you're right. There is that one guy who's got to have it right. But saying all that, rumors that Lucasfilm is getting rid of the sequel trilogy, it's not happening. The sequel trilogy
No.
happened. It is. It is. They are the final chapters of the Skywalker saga.
Right.
It's there. They're not going away. All that
Right.
we're going to be
Like
getting, yeah. It doesn't
like
make
I mean, it's and to be honest, I think this kind of ties back to what's going on with DC with the Snyder cut coming out.
yeah.
I think that it's people been begging for that cut to come out because because of the original Justice League movie that the cut that Joss Whedon did was bad and they wanted a redo, and they gave the fans they're giving the fans the Snyder cut. Now, as much as I love that, you're also feeding people that are kind of toxic about that situation. So
Yeah.
I don't think that just because a movie is bad in your opinion doesn't mean that you should get a new one. Like
I've seen plenty of bad movies. You know what I mean?
right.
I've seen movies that I was like, well, that was awful. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like they should remake this movie. No, it's like
Right.
when you saw a movie when you were a kid that was terrible, you were just like, well, that sucks. Okay,
Yeah.
now just gotta move on.
Like I mean it is just like the new Fantastic Four. Like I've as soon as they announced the Snyder cut, everyone was going to the director who did the new Fantastic Four and was like, "Can we see your cut? Like your movie was bad. Can we see your cut?" And it's just like these movies are made. It's done.
Yeah.
We need to move on to something else.
Yes.
Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean that you should be rewarded with a new film just because there was one part you didn't like. Like, for example, Canto Bight and Last Jedi. Was a big fan of it. I don't think they should make a remake.
Just because of that one.
Right. So, I mean, I love Star Wars fans, but the great thing about us is that we're all different. We all have our different, opinions about the franchise and about movies. And there are people like, for instance, Joseph, his favorite movie is Attack of the Clones. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, but he doesn't like Attack of the Clones. But then there's the other guy that does love Attack of the Clones.
Very true.
It's okay to like a different movie, and just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you have to try and get everyone on board to hate the same movie that you do.
And one thing that Joseph always says, which makes me laugh, he's like, because I hate Attack of the Clones. I hate that movie. But if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna sit down and watch the whole movie. And that's how it is with Star Wars as well. Like I can't think of a movie. I mean, mind you, yeah, Attack of the Clones is kind of not
stretched.
Yeah. But if someone's like, hey, you want to watch Attack of the Clones? Be like, yeah, I want to watch Attack of the Clones. Like, why would I not want to watch this movie? And so that's what I love about this group of Star Wars. I'm not excluding everybody. I'm just saying, like, with y'all is, yeah, we all have different opinions, but in the end, it's like, if Star Wars is on, we're all going to sit down and watch it. We're not going to be like, oh man, you're stupid for liking this movie. How could you even? Don't you realize how dumb this movie is? Like, whoa, easy, right? Easy, take it easy. And what's really great about Star Wars is that everybody has their own, like, their thing in Star Wars that they are very passionate about. And that's what Star Wars is so big. Like, you have some people who Clone Wars, that is Star Wars for them, man. The Clone Wars is everything Star Wars. And you have some people who've never even seen it, but they love the original movies. So, but nobody's wrong. It's still Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, because we've got a lot of new Star Wars projects coming out. Yes. We got the High Republic. We've got some new games coming in that are still connected to what we know. And it's just going to be awesome because I feel like we're kind of going in the same direction that Marvel did with the MCU. Like, they're expanding and they're just going to do a bunch of films, and that's what we want. Like, we want more Star Wars. And that gap from 2005, from Revenge of the Sith all the way to 2015, like, we got the Clone Wars and some cool stuff, but seeing those just going to the movie theater or watching something that's new but at the same time it's got like that feeling that we've seen it before. I mean, it's a great feeling, and at the same time, that feeling's great. But it's gonna be awesome to get into that new territory where you don't know anything.
I have no idea. Yep.
It's completely new, and I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to see the direction that it goes, and I think it's kind of Star Wars related, but they're also doing Indiana Jones 5, and I didn't think they would ever do that just after the Crystal Skull. So it's gonna be interesting to see that too.
That poor movie has been pushed back so many times, and I know for a fact Lucasfilms, purchase from Disney purchasing Lucasfilm didn't help, the movies get going, and because Kennedy I think was like, I got to get Star Wars out. We'll work on Indy later. But if I'm not mistaken, Indy wasn't 100% under Lucasfilm back in 2015. No, not 2015. Back in like 2012. I don't think they fully had Indiana Jones yet.
Because I believe they were still under Paramount.
Yeah, and now that I think they finally got it back, and they're like, all right, let's work on this movie. But Spielberg, of course, is Spielberg. He's got to keep making his movies, and he just finished what was that, West Side Story, and I don't know what's going to happen with that movie now because that actor, the main actor, got in big trouble. So I don't know what's gonna, so that's bad. I don't know what Spielberg's going to do with that movie, and that would, oh my gosh, that would suck so bad if that movie can't get released because the actor's bad, horrible mistake. And horrible life, by the way, for what he did. And then all of us, we're going to be like, dude, he could have made an Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
But no, he worked on it. But anyway, I can't talk trash. But we still got Indiana Jones coming out probably, what? It's not going to,
in the future.
I don't think Indiana Jones is going to be out. It would be really great if they had it coming out at the beginning part of 2022. That'd be pretty great.
That would be cool. I mean, as it's so funny because there's these films coming out that are mostly sequels. I don't mind it, but something that excites me about the new film, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's going to be new.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really excited about that. Because for a while now, we're like so used to, seeing a new Toy Story movie or something, or a new Jurassic Park. I'm excited for something new, but at the same time, it is connected to a point where we is in the Star Wars universe, but at the same time, we don't know anything about it.
Very true.
And
you want to hear a very fun fact really quickly?
Yeah.
You know what the second highest grossing original film of all time is? Not based off of anything. Just
okay.
I'm going to tell you what you're going to be like, what? The movie Zootopia. It's not based off of.
That does make sense though.
Yeah, it's not based off a book. It's not a sequel. It's not a part of it was its own movie, the original story, and it was the second highest grossing original story of all time.
I'm surprised it wasn't Lion King.
Well, Lion King's based off of Shakespeare. You know what I mean? Like there's like other.
Oh, true.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then plus there's like there's a whole controversy about Lion King. We're not going to get into it right now. But anyways, so that was us talking about this video. And like we said, the Star Wars Stuff podcast is telling you don't listen to the rumors. These rumors are not true. Star Wars, like we said, the sequel trilogy has happened. The saga is complete. It's not going anywhere. And 9 films, and I love them. I love all the movies. So, don't listen to those crazy rumors.
And the awesome thing is that the Skywalker films are done, but we're still getting stuff like the Mandalorian that's connected, and then Kenobi in the future and Cassian.
Yes.
So, it's the end, but at the same time, it's not the end because we're still getting stuff that's connected, and then we're getting a whole new, saga probably that has nothing to do with the Skywalkers. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you all for watching this, and we'll be back Monday. Either the Hoth team or the Scarab team, one of y'all will be back Monday with another topic. And check us out everywhere. We have something new coming up. We'll let you know about it the more we start to. It just happened today, so we're all kind of like, "Ooh, this is getting kind of exciting."
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that later. And again, thank you very much, and may the Force be with you.
Always.